Previous video, I shared about the danger of using corporate jargon and buzzwords. And one misunderstanding that I'm afraid to convey is that I think that corporate buzzwords and jargon are bad. They're not bad. In fact, if we know how to utilize them, they're all good and they're really harmless. Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. My name is Kian. I run a company focusing on corporate training, business consulting, and employee engagement. We have worked with more than 10 multinational companies and more than 2,500 employees across 15 different countries. And this is something that I learned about corporate buzzwords. In fact, this is what I learned from Swipe the movie. Now, Swipe the movie talks about the journey of the ex-Tinder marketing director and the current Bumble CEO, Whitney Wolfe. Now, in that movie, we see how Whitney Wolfe was someone who employed corporate buzzwords, but she understood what each of these buzzwords meant, and she was able to actually embody these buzzwords. So what happened in the movie, spoiler alert, was that Whitney Wolfe was talking to her team about the research that she needed to do so that she could grow Tinder, the app, when she was still in Tinder in the movie. And she didn't just stop at using words like research and left it at that, because I have observed that many people do. They use these buzzwords as excuses to procrastinate, because if you say that you're doing research, then by definition, you're doing work, but you may not be doing work. Anyhow, with Wolfe, what she did was that she registered accounts across different dating apps, which are the competitors of the Tinder dating app. And what she did was that she looked at the interface and she figured out why each of these dating apps was as popular as it was, and then she went on dates with the dates that she was able to match with from these different dating apps. And what she was trying to do really was to understand what type of users each of these dating apps actually attracted. Of course, I would not discount that she was also trying to meet new guys. Now, after that, she then executed her so-called go-to-market strategy. And many times we throw that word around without actually knowing what we mean. And Wolfe did though. Wolfe did understand what her strategy was. She knew that she wanted to target university students. And so what she did immediately was that she went to her university, or where she went to go to university in Texas. And she first went to the sororities where she advertised the app. But when the crowd didn't seem super convinced, she then hollered, "Hey, how would you like to meet the hottest guys on campus? Download Tinder to do so." Almost immediately in the movie, she then dashed to the frat house and she said, "Hey, how would you like to meet the hottest girls on campus? Download Tinder to do so." And in a matter of time, because of the demand that she created, an influx of users entered Tinder, and she repeated this process across different university campuses. And in a matter of months or weeks, I can't remember now in the movie, Tinder generated more than 1 million users. And I think the idea there was that she didn't stop at saying, "Hey, this is going to be our strategy," some fancy sounding term or slide deck. It was, "This is a strategy and this is what I'm going to do." And another buzzword that they used, I believe, was iteration. And they didn't stop at using the buzzword. What they did was that she listened to the users of Tinder. With things that the users liked, they kept. With things that the users did not like, they did their best to change. And I think these segments of the movie, of course, what I've shared is not the entirety of the movie. What I want to convey really is that the segments that I've shared demonstrate the importance of understanding the definition of the buzzwords that you use. So when you're going to use a buzzword like research, go-to-market strategy, or iteration, you want to make sure that you actually understand them and you're actually able to define them in observable terms, and you actually know what to do when you are tasked, for example, to execute the strategy. And I think, again, there's no harm in using corporate buzzwords. The harm comes when you do not know what these words mean and you do not know what to do with these words. In the case of Whitney Wolfe, she knew and she did the work, and which is why she was able to make Tinder and then Bumble successful.